Hey, folks. I wanted to cover a topic on insurance, property insurance, when you are renting your property, and what are the couple things that you need to obviously consider. And usually, it's an option for most owners because they don't want to spend the extra money for the premium. Obviously, when you are renting your property, is very ideal, and we require it as mandatory that you have proper coverage, and that the coverage includes or states that it's a rental property, because a lot of insurance companies, if they find that you're using your normal owner's insurance and you're renting it, they may not want to cover you. And that's something, especially when there's a disaster that happens and it's, a tenant-induced situation, your insurer could actually walk away from your policy, or coverage, and then that's something that you don't want to be dealing with, especially at the time when you need them. So something to keep in mind is another point is rental loss. So what happens if you happen to have a disaster in your unit and the tenant can't live in the unit? Well, they're going to leave because it's unsafe or it's unhealthy, and that's going to be stipulated by the restoration company or the contractor that goes in there. So what happens if you don't have it? Well, guess what? You don't get covered. The tenant may not have to pay you rent because technically they're not living in your unit. And in most sense, to try to keep a working relationship with the tenant, it's ideal that we try to find a amicable solution, because it's a very stressful situation when they actually have to move out, and it's all no easier for you as the owner. So if you get that rental loss coverage, what will happen is that if they happen to actually have to move out, that your insurance will be covering for the lost time that you're not getting income. And another stipulation, and very important, to make sure that you get enough coverage for your rental income, because if you don't get a proper enough coverage, you may not get the full amount. You may get a prorated amount, and that's very important. And I won't cover that in detail, because I've come across this a couple of times where we've actually had to use it and realized that we thought we had coverage, but we didn't because of the fine print. Oh, you're not fully covered because your coverage wasn't equal to the amount of rent that you're reporting. So these are things that I would suggest as an owner. You double check with your broker to make sure you get proper coverage if you do happen to have rental loss. So I hope that helps, and look forward to your comments.